Imagine you have found a buyer for your home. You're done, right? Not quite. Stay tuned as we cover the steps taken so you don't get ran over after accepting an offer from a buyer. Welcome back. If you don't know me already, my name is Blake Alewelt with the Bravo Ridge Group at eXp Realty. This video is part 7 in a series of short videos introducing a complete guide to selling your home. In the first couple videos, we covered the new normal of selling your home in today's market, the steps we could take to make sure your home sells for top dollar, how we can price your home, how we can advertise your home, things we can do to show your home in its best light, and how we can best negotiate to get the most out of your home. In this video, we will go over the steps taken once we accept an offer from a buyer. Number 1, let's talk earnest money. When the buyer makes an offer on your house and we accept, the buyer will write you a check for a deposit known as earnest money. I have had multiple clients get confused by earnest money. It comes down to a very simple idea. This is money a buyer puts forward that proves that they are earnest or confident about their intentions to move forward on the deal. These funds are usually held by a third party or the seller's broker until the deal closes. On average, buyers pay about $1,000 up to 1% of the offer amount. If the deal goes through, the earnest money becomes part of the buyer's down payment or the full cash payment. If the buyer falls through because you're unable to meet the buyer's contingencies, or for example with the inspection or the appraisal, that money gets returned to the buyer, usually. However, if buyers back out just because they randomly change their mind, sellers may get to keep the money for all their hassle. Consider it a hefty consolation prize for having to put your home back on the market. Number 2, the seller's disclosure. If you have worked with me before, you'll know that this is one of the many forms we fill out first because it needs to be furnished whenever you find a buyer. So might as well knock it out first thing. If you don't know what this form is, it's basically an itemized list of any problems with the house or the surrounding area. But how much do you have to disclose? It all depends on your state's laws. The legal site nolo.com has a list of disclosure laws for various states, and your real estate agent, whether it's myself or not, can always provide you with the requirements. Generally, expect it to have these things: basic information about the house, like the age or utility costs, structural problems like the condition and age of your roof, environmental issues like if the property is located in a floodplain, and any known issues like flooding in the basement. Even if our state doesn't have strict requirement rules, you can also disclose more than the minimum, and it may make sense to do so. I always advise sellers to include as much information as possible to reduce their future liability. I know it sounds counterproductive. After all, we don't want to scare the buyer away, but withholding information could come back to haunt you. The buyer will find out sooner or later, so it's best to be upfront. If the roof leaks 2 months into their ownership and they find out that you knew about it and didn't report it, you could potentially pay for their new roof. We don't want you to do that. Number 3, the home inspection. Unless you've sold the home as is, and sometimes even if you have, the buyer will want a home inspection. I personally won't buy a house without one. The inspector's job is to look for problems like roof damage, structural problems, plumbing problems, fire hazards like bad wiring or improperly working chimneys, major appliances, and HVAC issues. Most of these things we can't see or detect, so it's best to have the inspection done. Since the buyers hire the inspector, the report will go to them. If they spot anything they don't like, trust me, you will hear about it, as it will become a negotiation point we'll have to work out before you close. Basically, the buyer may want some repairs done after reviewing the seller's disclosure and conducting the inspection. The repairs may have to be legit problems, like the buyer can't just walk away because the stove is outdated. You may be asked to get things repaired and just give the buyers a credit so they can pay for the repairs themselves. And while fixing it yourself may seem cheaper, it's faster to offer a credit, so be sure to consider what a delay would cost you. Number 4, the home appraisal. If your buyers are getting a mortgage, they will also have to hire a home appraiser. An appraiser is similar to an inspector in that they come to your house and check it out top to bottom. Only the purpose is different. Rather than looking for problems and repairs, an appraiser is trying to estimate the value of your home so that the lender knows their investment is sound. To do that, the appraiser will not only size up your home in person, but check out the sale prices of comparable homes in your neighborhood, similar to how us agents do for our comparable market analysis. If the appraiser's price matches the one of your buyers, or paying even, or even if it's higher, all is good. But if the appraisal comes back lower than the asking price, it may become a problem. Typically, lenders won't loan buyers anything above the appraisal amount. The buyers have two choices: pay cash for the difference or negotiate a lower sell price with you as the seller. If they choose the latter, you've got two choices: accept the lower home price or walk away. Sometimes we can hire our own appraiser at our own cost to get a second opinion, but it will be up to the lender to accept that valuation in the end. To help with this decision, ask yourself, how easy would it be to find a new buyer? If we were choosing between many offers, it may be in your interest to move on, but keep in mind that you may run into the same problem with subsequent appraisals. So unless you're confident your home is worth more and you're willing to head back to square one, you may just want to take a hit just to keep moving forward. And that wraps up part 7 of the complete guide to selling your home. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below so you are notified when part 8 of the series is released, where we cover the closing process itself. As always, I will leave my contact information down in the description, so please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. I look forward to hearing from you.